and I speak broad. This conversation is mainly about Jewish people, but white people in general came to North America, and now they North American. They displaced all the Native Indians, put them on reservations. Y'all displaced the Palestinians because y'all claim to be the chosen people. Here's the biggest difference, and I'm going to use the word you use. When you say dick, the biggest dick would have to be y'all, because y'all murdered and displaced the Palestinians to establish a land that you don't have right to, on the premise that y'all are chosen people, whereas black people over here are just accessing their identity biblically. Every nation can be established in the Bible. So all we're doing is saying what we are. Y'all are not only saying what you are, you're killing people in the name of the people that you are. We ain't murdered nobody because of who we are, but y'all have. So if you want to swing a dick or some shit like that, or say it's obnoxious or whatever word you want to use, then Michael Jackson had this great song, You Gotta Look at the Man in the Mirror. Even when you made up the point about, I'm sorry, you want to say something? Even when you bring a man in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do I get to comment on the opening statements? I'm confused. I thought it was a three-way debate.
I thought we was in it now.
I just wanted to let the I guess I'm going to say Jews, and I know y'all.
Yeah, because I thought Randy. Yeah, that's fine. However you want to say it, that's fine. I thought Randy said it was. It was the Israelites. It was the real Israelites versus the imposter Israelites. I didn't think Christians was in it yet. I didn't think the Christians are always in it. Christians are always in it. Go ahead.
All right, hold on. Why don't we have a three-way? I mean, I thought this. I agreed to a three-way debate. That's what I thought this was.
You can jump in whenever you want, but kind of the whole point of the debate is kind of based off the whole Jew.
Yeah, so don't come in here muddy and see that's white privilege. See, Randy, that's that white privilege.
Hold on, I want to. No, it's not. White privilege is not having equal response to you is not white privilege.
Because he know I'm right. That's that white privilege. Randy
for a three-way debate. It's a three-way debate.
Listen, wait, no, Randy.
Come on, Jay.
Yeah, I don't want you to mute. I just want to say this, Jay. I just want to.
I want an opening statement that comments on what you said.
Jay, I don't have a problem with your speech. I just want to make this one point, and then you got it. This is the white privilege boxing that I was telling you about. Randy clearly said that this debate was between my side of Israelite and your side of Israelite. But white privilege won't let Jay be quiet and let us have the dialogue. But y'all got it. Good.
A three-way debate. That's why I'm here.
Jay, you are, like I said, I want you to jump if you want. But the kind of whole I guess, how do I say this? Like the whole, I don't know the word, but like foundation of the debate is based on Jews and Hebrew Israelites.
Premise is a good point.
Yeah,
right, and Orthodox Christians.
No, it's not. No, you're wrong, Jay. Because also include Christians, because they dispute Christians ultimately, because if they believe that Jews,
you're here to give the Christian response to boxing.
Right, that's a three-way debate. So the Christian
and listen, now the Jew. I told y'all brothers, Jay and Boxing.
We are not.
Y'all are the same type of white man, because what Boxing
all you're doing is complaining because you can't handle a debate. Are you gonna debate or complain?
Okay, wait. When you
because I can read everything you said in your opening statement to make you look silly. I'm gonna make you look silly right now. Okay?
But Jay, I'm gonna give you a gift. I'm gonna help you out.
You're not helping me out. Right? You don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna refute you in about a minute. You ready to be refuted in a minute? You said that Jew doesn't exist in the. You said Jew doesn't exist in the Old Testament. I'm going to show you right here. The word Jew. You said the word Jew wasn't in the Old Testament. That's what you said.
I said Jewish, you simple nigga.
It's right here. Zechariah 8:23. Zechariah 8:23.
No problem. So when I was talking, you said do it in a minute, which means you would have to be quiet for 60 seconds.
You made your opening statement. It's my turn.
In a minute.
Yeah. You gotta let Jay go.
Wait a minute. I don't mean in a minute. I don't mean it in the black sense of it's been a minute. I don't mean it's been a minute. I mean in 1 minute. I can refute in 1 minute. That's what I mean.
And you're going to Zechariah 8:23?
Correct.
And it's going to say Jewish.
Correct. It's on the screen.
I have Zechariah 8:23 in front of me.
And it's on the screen. And it's on the screen right now.
What version are you reading? What the Bible are you reading?
We can go to any version you want.
I'm in the King James Version, Zechariah 8:23. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take the hold out of all languages of the nations, even shall take the hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God is with you.
Did you know that when you said the word Judea, That's where the word Jew comes from. So you refuted yourself. In your opening statement, you used the Old Testament.
Randy, you gotta let it. Randy, you gotta let us.
You just read the verse yourself and made yourself look dumb, dude.
Anybody listening? Okay, so Randy,
you said word Jew is not in the Old Testament. You just read it.
I did not say Jew.
You did. Your opening statement. You said the word Jew is not in the Old Testament.
Did I say the word Jew or the word Jewish is not in the Old Testament?
You said Jewish.
It doesn't. New King James.
It doesn't matter because your whole premise is to try to get a gotcha moment, and you just played yourself.
The word Jewish just means people of. You're that dumb. You're that dumb. You think the same thing as Jew.
No, it's not, because in the New Testament, the word Jewish is in there. That's why I was specific. I do this.
You don't know what you're talking about. The fact that you do this, I do that, but you do this, but I do that.
You let him talk. You gotta let him talk.
But he said I was lying. I just called him on his lie.
No, you don't even know that the word refers to Jews, people of that religion.
Oh my God, he said that the word Jewish is in the Old Testament. Brought us to
it is, right. You understand. You understand.
The word Jewish is not.
Most translations translate that as Jewish, right?
The King James does not.
On what basis do you know the King James is right?
Now he want to go to something else. He gonna be wrong.
No, I don't even know. Why? On what basis do you accept that?
Because of where the King James is translated from.
Oh, from British kings? Do you accept British kings? Do you accept British kings, my brother?
Hey, this is your scholar? This is scholar.
Oh, you accept a British. You accept. Do you accept a British king?
If you know anything about kings, kings don't do work, they give work. King James.
I know that.
Okay, then
why do you accept his authoritative translation, though? That's what I'm asking you.
Okay. Again, I answered that question already.
You did it?
Because, yes, I did. I said I accept the King James because of where it was translated from. It was translated from the Masoretic text, which uses the Aleppo and the Leningrad, I believe, as the translated from, which is older than the King James. So when you ask me what I use, that's what I use. And so the King James translation, which does not have the word Jewish in Zechariah 8:23, would be older than any modern translation that tries to put the word Jewish in there. So
hold on. You understand? You know what the historicist fallacy? The fact that it's older doesn't mean anything. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. You don't know what a fallacy is. The fact that it's older doesn't mean anything.
Hold on. Jay hasn't got the introduction yet, and you guys are starting in arguments. So can we give the floor to Jay to introduce himself and let him know let everyone know his position and background and stuff? Thanks.
Right. The New Testament, by the way, that comes down to us that's used in the.
Go ahead, Jay. Double mute. So we're gonna give Jay the floor. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, the New Testament texts that are used in the Orthodox Church are the received texts. Those are the texts that are the basis for the King James when it translates the New Testament. The fact that the King James relies on, in part, the Masoretic text for the Old Testament really has nothing to do with today's debate, because it depends on whether you're a Christian or not. The Christians of the early church, particularly the New Testament writers, Paul, for the most part, predominantly use the Septuagint, which is what the Orthodox Church uses. But it doesn't matter either way, because I don't know if this is your position, but other Black Hebrew Israelites that I've heard, they actually think the word Jewish means kind of. Like I'm gay-ish, sort of gay, but not totally gay. That's not what the word Jewish means. That's a super dumb low IQ move, if that's what you think. I don't know if that's your position, but to think that the word Jewish it means something totally different than a collection of Jews and their beliefs is ridiculous and utterly absurd. You said that the tribe of Judah in the Old Testament, and then you said that the word Jewish is not in the Old Testament. Well, in this translation, it is in the Old Testament. So now you're going to have to justify which translation you use. I didn't hear any justification for that. I heard that the King James is older. That's a fallacy. It's called the historicist fallacy. The fact that something's older has nothing to do with whether it's true or false. It might be true. It might be false. Absolutely nothing to do with it. It doesn't prove anything. It's called a historicist fallacy. Beyond that, Paul says in Romans 3 that Jews of the Old Testament had the oracles of God committed to them. Jesus says in John 4, salvation is of the Jews against the Samaritans and the Samaritan woman. So these are just some basic introductory texts that even boxing, I think, would know correctly. Totally refutes everything that your cult started with and has made up. It's a totally invented thing in the last, 100 years. I think it was the first ruminations of this sect popping up. Has no connection whatsoever with history or reality. You have no basis to say that you prefer the King James text, other than that you had some idea about something being older and these texts that you think are older. But older doesn't mean anything. The Hebrew texts are older than you, and they don't back up you. They back up our position. So older, if we want to go to ancient Jewish texts, have nothing to do with the modern African slave trade. They're not about that. Deuteronomy is not about that. This is just ludicrous.
Hey, Randy, I just want to ask Jay a question just before I respond. Jay, you made a point to say your position. So I know boxing's position. So because I initially thought it was just between my side and boxing side, what is your position so I can know what I'm attacking on you? You haven't established, because you brought out Romans.
Orthodox. I'm an Orthodox Christian. I said Romans 3.
Right, you brought out Romans 3. But what is your position that I am going to contend with? You're saying what? You believe that what the Bible is for everybody? What's your? Because I'm assuming that's your position as a Christian.
I believe Orthodox Christianity is the true church, and I believe that Orthodox Christianity is the successor to the Old Testament promises.
Gotcha. So if I'm battling you, specifically you and your side, it would be like God loves everybody, and I would say no, He doesn't. You would say yes, He does. Right?
What?
Yeah, we believe God loves everyone. Sure.
Right. Meaning, like Christ. I'll be more specific.
Hold on.
Wait, boxing. I'm just trying.
Missing
boxing.
the point.
No, boxing. I know your point. I want to know what his agenda is, so I can know what I'm responding to. That's all I'm trying to lay out.
Orthodox Christianity. So I don't know if you know, but the Eastern Orthodox Church. And by the way, I forgot to mention the book of Maccabees mentions the religions of the religion of the Jews as well.
So let me make it more specific. You believe that Jesus died for all nations that believe on Him, right?
Yes, sure.
Okay, I don't. So I just wanted. So when I speak to you, I know I'll be speaking to you from that lens. I know when I'm speaking to boxing, I'll be speaking from that lens. I want Kadazar, who's on my side as well, I want him to speak, but I just want to clarify just two things. Number one, when I said the King James was older, that's not what I said. What I said was where they got it translated from was older.
It wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Jay, I didn't interrupt you. I let you go. You misquoting me. The only reason I'm clearing this up is because you said I said the King James was older. That's not what I said.
No, the text that it relies on. I know what you said. The text that it relies on is older.
Don't try to. Why? When you got to.
Because that's the argument I was making.
You know you're getting. When you have to interrupt somebody when I'm just clearing up what you said about me. That
no, you just didn't understand the argument.
I did. Why you can't just be quiet? You're hurt. You're misquoting.
Because you can't have a conversation about it.
I am having a conversation about it.
No, then you should let me explain what I meant, that I wasn't misunderstanding.
You did.
All you can do is fuss, dude. You can't even argue.
What did I say? What did I say the King James was translated from?
You said the text that it came from are older. It doesn't matter.
It
won't matter whether you're talking about one.
What was it that I said it translated from?
How does this avoid the historical fallacy?
Because when you ask me why do we follow the King
James,
it's
ask. ASK. There's no X. It's ask, not X.
Now you saying that I can't battle, but now you're being cynical. So now you asked me where it was translated from. I gave you 3 names that it was translated from. What were those 3 names?
You mentioned 3 textual traditions.
Which?
I don't remember what you said, but it doesn't matter because you said it's older.
Here's why that matters.
You said something else, and it won't matter because it's
exactly. And those.
Do you even understand the argument?
I just want to finish.
Into an argument that you don't understand.
I'm not replying to an argument. I'm replying to a question that you asked. There's a difference.
It's asked with an S, ASK.
You said, why do we follow the King James? And I answered it. And because I said...
Your answer was a fallacy. You don't understand that?
Okay, then disprove that where the King translates from...
Matter. That's why you don't even understand what the fallacy... You don't understand the argument.
Where are you saying that word Jewish is in Zechariah 8:23? Because in the Hebrew... or the Greek, the word Jewish is not in Zechariah 8:23, and that's how we got here, because you was trying to correct me, and you were incorrect.
You don't even understand what a historical fallacy is. So how are you going to make this argument or reply to it? It doesn't matter which... You just keep talking because you can't understand the argument. I'm sorry that you can't.
I don't have a problem being quiet. I'm going to lay out the point of contention, and I'll gladly give you...
Yeah, because you're not answering the objection, but you don't understand the fallacy.
See how I just said I'm going to lay out the point of contention?
Can you even tell me what fallacy is? What that fallacy is?
So now,
what's the historical fallacy? What's a historicist fallacy? You don't know.
I said, when you have your time to speak, you can say what you want. I'm just laying down the point of contention, and then you can respond.
The argument was you're making a fallacy. You don't know what the fallacy is.
The argument was that I said the word
No,
Jewish
my argument against you don't have to rehearse the whole conversation. I was here for it. I remember it. The argument I made is that you committed a fallacy.
If you could just say that you made a mistake, we could just move forward.
My argument has not been addressed. I called you. I said you committed a fallacy. You don't know what a fallacy is. Do you know what a fallacy is?
You said the word Jewish is in the Old Testament, yes or no? As a Christian, you should tell the truth, right? Did you not say the word Jewish was in the Old Testament, yes or no?
It is in the Old Testament. Okay. Because the significance of the word can be meaning of that term. You don't even understand the meaning of the word. You think that it means like Jewish, like kind of.
I was the one asking a question.
Asking questions.
Guys, I don't want to mute the room because it ruins the space, but trying to not talk over each other, that'd be great.
I was the one asking.
What is a fallacy? Can you tell me what a fallacy is? Because I don't think you can debate if you don't even know what that is.
Well, clearly you can't debate if you can't.
So you don't know what a fallacy is. So you don't know what you don't know the basic rules of logic, and you're here to debate.
Here's what I like to do.
What's a fallacy?
I'm read it for you.
What's a fallacy?
I'm about to read it.
Oh, you Googled it. You Googled it?
All is read it for you.
Because you Googled it, so you didn't know. So you yapping while you Google it. Yapping and keep Googling. Can you Google fast enough? Keep yapping.
I want everybody to pay attention. He says I can't battle or debate. He's the only one ad hominem.
No, I'm just making jokes because I'm making jokes because this is a circus.
But joke on here because when we go through this word Jewish, you're going to be wrong.
I showed you, and you can't give me a basis. I showed you in Zechariah 8.
He placed the Jewish in Zechariah 8 and 23.
Yeah, correct. And you don't know. You have no basis for. You have no better. All you do, you're so emotional. Listen to you. You don't even know what a fallacy is. You had to Google it live.
Here's the Hebrew word for Jew in 8 and 23. This is the word.
Oh, so now you're a Hebrew scholar.
Yehudi. It says Jew, Judah.
That means people who are Jewish. You didn't know that.
Once again,
you didn't know that. You didn't know that. That's what the word Jewish means. The word Jewish refers to those people. You're this stupid.
Once again,
you don't know that.
The argument that I made that you responded to. So, for example,
you don't know that the word Jewish refers to those things.
The word Jewish. If I look up the word Jewish in the New Testament, in the Bible, there's one verse, Titus 1 and 14. It says, not giving heed.
You are so dumb that you don't know that the word Jewish refers to the same thing. It's the same referent. You're that stupid. You are this stupid.
He can't admit that he tried to have a gotcha moment and was just wrong. Historical fallacy.
It's not wrong. You don't even know what the fallacy is.
I just want to read the definition.
You're making a basic you're making a grammar mistake. Do you understand this is a grammar mistake?
I'm not making a grammar
you are, because Jewish is the same thing. It means the same thing.
Here's my point of saying
Greeks? No. If I say the word Greeks, it doesn't refer to a person who's a Greek. That's how dumb you are. That's how dumb this is.
Here's my
does the word Greeks Greek? Does the word Greeks?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, you're that dumb. You are. This is the dumbest argument I ever had in my life. Greeks refers to a person who's a Greek. Jewish refers to a person who's a Jew. Because you don't understand what you're talking about. The words coming out of your mouth, you don't even know what you're saying. You just said Greeks, Greek. That is so dumb.
It's not, because there's two type of Greeks.
Oh,
you can have Hellenized Greeks and you can have natural Greeks.
They're both Greeks. That proves the point. You can't even think through your sentences. You don't even understand the sentences you're making.
If you're not going to give,
dude, the whole chat is laughing at you. The whole chat is laughing at you, dude. You started with the race whining. You started with that.
If we have this conversation, I will not interrupt him.
You can't have a conversation because you can't argue at a basic level. You don't have basic critical thinking skills.
I have not been interrupting him.
Because you don't have basic critical thinking skills.
First of all, y'all put an argument that it was just between me and boxing according to Randy.
All you can do is No, I was invited here as a three-way debate. I was invited as a three-way debate. That's why I'm here.
Let me say something. Okay, ultimately, we're essentially arguing the same thing in this context. His religion doesn't exist if my premise is...
It's not a religion.
Whatever you fucking.
All right, this is a literal lunatic. This person doesn't even. This is a legit lunatic. You don't even know what the words you're saying mean.
Because I've been called a lunatic.
You are a lunatic. You ought to be called a lunatic. Yeah, you did. You whined about white privilege. What are you talking about?
Yeah, who cares? Okay, we're not sensitive to that. But
I'm not sensitive at all either. Clearly.
All you done is whine.
Okay, but let me say something. Just hold on. You understand the premise. In other words, his religion. Again, we could dispute, I guess, the New Testament and like the belief in Jesus with the quote unquote imposter Jews, which I define us as, doesn't exist unless my premise is correct. So this is why it's not a three-way debate. We're arguing history and not. Your whole religion is based off of linguistic fallacies.
Exactly.
And essentially, it's all historical fallacies because you're connecting that don't exist. It's literally like based. No. I'm saying this is what it is. So and then you.
I got you. I didn't say anything wrong.
Let me finish up. So you're using terms linguistically incorrect in modern English and also in historical languages to then create a narrative, which to me or Jay or other people is just there. Okay.
Okay. So Boxing, I appreciate you saying that. The linguistic part, Captain Tazaryak, I wouldn't say that I'm using an argument because just like you said, you're not fluent in the.
You literally sat here arguing linguistics. All right, I'm out. I'm out of here. This is the dumbest thing I've been a part of. This is so stupid. Oh my gosh. He sat here arguing linguistics for 30 minutes. I am making a linguistic argument. I can't do it. I'm out. That's unreal. We got super chats. I got a bunch of notes. I'm ready to go into Old Testament texts. And I mean, we're like at fourth grade. Okay, so forget all the arguments I had. All these notes I got out here. So I can't do that. That's just too low tier. Spirit Sama, $5. Victardo Dreams is a slow boy that thinks he can debunk objective morality. He has crap videos. Well, I believe you, but thank you for that link. Bumblebee, $10. This is so good. Oh my gosh, thank you. Well, I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If I stay in there, it's just going to be yelling and arguing, and you're not dealing with a person who has basic critical thinking. So I don't see any point in staying in that. This is not a coherent person. I mean, this is what you get with Black Hebrew Israelite. It's an insane cult. I mean, to rehearse, the word Jewish is used there because it's referring to those people. And the word Jewish, like the word Greeks, is just referring to groups of people, obviously. Everyone in the chat can see that. Now, I did a stream analyzing Black Hebrew Israelite theology a while back. And if you remember, one of their, quote, bishops said that Jewish, they actually think that means like ish, like kinda, right? Like he's, what's an ish word that I'm thinking of with this, right? This is how dumb this is. Not Greek-ish. They actually think that it means like there's Jews and then there's those who are Jewish, right? Like kinda, but not really. That's how stupid they are. Like that, they don't understand that the word Swedish, exactly. They're Swedes, and then there's this other group of people that live there that are Swedish. They're not really Swedes, right? I'm not joking. There's Poles. And then you got people who are, I mean, this is how stupid we're talking about. And I'm sorry, but it's not mean to just hear and say that some people are stupid. There's fools who are foolish. So no, I by the way, I agreed to a three-way debate. I didn't like coming there and it being like, oh, this is a two-way debate and you sit and listen. Sit and listen to this madness? Are you kidding? I'm sorry, I can't do it. Total waste of time. But anyway, no, so the word is the word used in Zechariah is there because it's about Jewish man. What's a Jewish man? A man who is a Jew. The same thing. No, it don't. No, it don't. Yes, it does. Greeks are a Greek. No, because there's different types of Greeks. If they're both Greeks, even if they're Hellenic Greeks or they're non-Hellenic Greeks, they're both Greeks. So the text has translated that. It doesn't matter whether it says the sleeve of a Jew or a Jewish man. It means the same thing. That's how silly this is. And by the way, Maccabees, I just remembered, does mention these things. Now he's going to say, I don't accept them books. You don't accept those books? Well, on what basis do you not accept those books? That's why I was going to the historical fallacy because he said the texts that the King James uses are older. So, how do we know that just because something's older, it's therefore true? Ancient Hindu texts are really old. They're older than the Masoretic text, probably. Does that make them true because they're older? It's historical fallacy, right? But now there is, in Maccabees, which is the Old Testament, the many mentions of Jews, as well as, I'm pretty sure, the Jewish, because they sign, the Maccabees make a deal with the Jews after they draw up a constitution, and it talks about the Jews. So anybody who's read Maccabees knows this. I'm trying to find the chapter of the constitution they drew up. So this is just talking to complete just idiots. I'm sorry. It's just that way. This domain out here is full of. By the way, doesn't Esther mention the Jews? Pretty sure Esther does too. Yes, Esther. Esther mentions the Jews, the word Jew, and he even said Yehuda, the people of the tribe of Yehuda. Guess what the word Jew means? Yehuda. It's the Jews, Judeans. So when he opened his statement, his opening statement was, "You don't find Jewish in the Old Testament," and then he talked about the Old Testament tribes of Judah. He contradicted himself in his opening statement. That's how stupid this is.